is going on, folks? It's Jacob coming at you with another video. Sorry about the little bit of mess behind me. Still getting the new home office set up. I want to talk to you in this one about the 3 layers. You can see the ClickFunnels dream car on top of the wine fridge. There's stuff everywhere. I want to talk to you about the 3 layers of leverage that you can build into your business so that you can really start to lean into this business model and lifestyle that we call leveraged consulting. Okay, so I've been doing consulting since 2011, back in corporate in Australia. I did it over in New York, worked with multi-billion-dollar companies, and from pretty early on in my journey, I've been helping people online in some form of, consulting capacity, and that's really that practice, that business has just kept growing and growing to what it is today. Now, typically, the problem with consulting, where you're trying to take your knowledge, your expertise, your skill sets, is that you can cap out if you don't do things the right way. You can cap out on talking to potential new clients. You can cap out on delivering to existing clients if you don't structure things up the right way. You can cap out on your time trying to attract new people into your world that you can ultimately then have a sales conversation with and hopefully convert into a new client. But then if you're capped out, that has this trickle down effect across all of those key phases, which really starts to limit your income, right? Now, obviously, you can crank up your prices if the demand is there and your supply is capping out. That is one option, right? And I would encourage you to make sure that you're, quote unquote, charging what you're worth, which can be tricky to do. And if you're not sure how to do that the right way, that's where a coach and a mentor can become really, really beneficial. But beyond that, there's a lot you can do structurally in the business to make sure that you're getting as much leverage as possible. And in particular, there's 3 layers where you can be building leverage into the business that will allow you to significantly increase the amount you can make and decrease your hours, right? And ultimately, if we can get both of those things going in that direction, that's a win, right? And that's what leverage consulting is all about. It's how do we work with a pretty small group of the right people and do it in a leverage way, which means that we're not working insane hours, because trust me, I've done it. I worked on Wall Street, did the 80 to 100 hour consulting to big companies, and I learned a lot, but I burnt out, right? And most of the people do at some point. It's not a particularly healthy way of living, right? Now, I wouldn't go and change it because it taught me so much, and it gave me an insane amount of really, really cool industry experience. And, without kind of boasting, I can say I've probably got a wider range of consulting experience than anybody else online. Like, I've worked with thousands of people in the startup phase, like $0 solopreneurs trying to figure out the game, all the way up to, $10 billion companies. There's very few people with that kind of breadth of experience in the consulting world who, you can get access to, right? And so this has allowed me to figure out some pretty cool stuff. And where we really focus our time and our energy now is helping our clients with this leveraged consulting model, right? And so you've got these 3 layers. The first one is in your marketing, okay? Now, on the marketing side of the equation, this is where you create content, okay? But we want to be channeling our energy into creating content that can last us for the long term, right? So this video, as an example, we're 4 minutes in, right? I've invested 4 minutes of my time, of my energy into filming this video. But that 4 minutes isn't lost, right? That 4 minutes isn't gone, it's captured. And I can put it in our Facebook group, the team can edit it, it can go onto YouTube, I could put it on my profile, I could upload it onto a blog. It can go into lots of different places, right? So we get that distribution leverage. And then there's the consumption leverage, right? Hundreds, thousands of people can watch it over the coming days, weeks, months, quarters, and ultimately years. And so you want to be channeling on the marketing side of things, you want to be channeling your energy into things that can pay you directly or indirectly for an extended period of time, okay? I recently put out a new ebook that within the first couple of days after it went live, over 500 people requested access to. And that's just in the initial phase, right? Now that asset that, in total maybe took me, 3 or 4 hours, can sit there and is literally picking us up new leads every single day, which is really, really cool. It's another example of leverage in your marketing. Okay, now those lead to conversations with people who can become potential clients, which is really, really cool. So that's what I'm talking about in the leverage on the marketing side of things, is to channel that energy into things that will get you a return over and over and over again, where you're not there, right? You're not there, and it can be distributed out to a lot of different places, and people can continue to come in for the long term. So that's on the marketing side of things. 2, on the sales process side of things, the traditional model of selling consulting is get on the phone, right? And that could be you as the founder, but it could also be hiring a team and getting them to do it for you, okay? Now that model works, and I'm not saying that it doesn't, but it's still being driven by people's time, people's energy, okay? And now, like, I've worked with big teams in my corporate consulting career, and when I started growing the online business, I wanted time freedom, I wanted flexibility. I didn't want to be on team meetings every day. I didn't want to have sales huddles every day. I didn't want to manage a big group of people, right? I wanted something that could spit out over 50 grand a month consistently, like we've been doing for a very, very long time, and it be as lean as possible, right? And so we had to find a model that allowed us to build leverage into the sales process. And so rather than the phone call approach, which, if you think about it, either yourself or the team is presenting the same offer over and over and over and over and over and over and over again, one by one by one, it inherently lacks leverage, right? And so rather, what we do is we take that offer, we do some cool stuff with it, right? And then we drop it into an invitation document type structure. And what this means is that people come through our world, they consume our content, we can have a conversation in the DMs, or the team can do it for us. And in the DMs, they can be talking to a lot more people at once than blocking out 45 minutes on the calendar to sit there and talk to one person, right? So we've got leverage. That's a whole nother layer of leverage we've got in the DMs. They could be talking to 5, 10, 20, 30, 40 people at the same time, right? When they're trained up. And then when that conversation reaches a point where the offer is ready to be received, they just send that over. Right? They send over the offer document that's constantly getting refined. And if we make a tweak to the offer, we just go and we type it, and then boom, it's instantly live updated. So huge leverage on the offer side of things. Okay, so now we've ticked off marketing, we've ticked off sales process, we've ticked off offer. We consider kind of the sales process and the offer together, so they're not two separate ones. The third is in your delivery. Okay, now this is getting a bit more kind of advanced and nuanced depending on the situation. But the baseline of your delivery, you can build leverage by obviously having pre-recorded content that people can go through, and through how you structure up your support, and through how you structure up your coaching. So as a baseline for your main leverage consulting offer, you want those 3 elements. You want a community where people can come together and access you and your team to ask questions around the clock. You want the key elements of your curriculum, the key elements of your process, the key elements of your methodology pre-recorded, and you want a weekly time where you all come together. Okay, now that's the baseline. From there, you can add layers behind it if you want to increase the one-to-one support. You can add kickoff calls, you can add group chats, individual chats, all that kind of stuff, right? But you want that one single core leverage program, and then you can build those kind of other elements around it. And having this, what this allows us to do is we can have an offer structure that we can monetize anywhere from like 6 grand up to 50 grand with just that one main core program. And then we can flex the other elements of support, deliverables, based on the individual situation. But at its core, it's a very, very leveraged structure. There's even a really cool way to do leverage one-to-one, but I'll leave that for a separate day. Okay, so there's 3 layers of leverage, and the second one's kind of split into 2, but you can see how at every stage, we're tapping into as much leverage as we possibly can so that we can increase our income without increasing our workload, and in a lot of cases, decrease our workload, okay? Then you can lay a team over the top of this, but you're plugging your team into a very, very leveraged model, as opposed to plugging a team into something that's bloated, something that takes a lot of time, something that's not energy efficient. And so when you combine those 2 things for the founder, amazing, okay? Hopefully you enjoyed this one. I want you thinking about saving your energy. I want you to think about not just how can I make more, but how can I make more without working more? And in a lot of cases, how can I make more by working less, okay? Appreciate you hanging out with me in this one. I'm going to crack on with the day, and I'll talk to you soon. Cheers.